Okay, we've learned how to graph in vertex form. Now we want to learn how to graph in standard form. So remember the standard form equation of a quadratic? That's what you were using when you were factoring. So this is the standard form. There's a couple of ways that we can graph in standard form, one of which is using this axis of symmetry formula. This axis of symmetry formula is helping us to find the x value of our vertex. Because if you'll notice in standard form, we don't have an h and a k value like we did in vertex form. We can't see our vertex. Okay? So this axis of symmetry formula helps me to find the x value of our vertex. Now, this formula should look familiar to you because it's built into the quadratic formula. It's the beginning part of it, the opposite of b over 2a. So we're going to find the x value of our vertex first. So let's look at an example. So I'm going to write in our formula x equals the opposite of b over 2a. I'm going to remind ourselves this is a, b, and c. So the opposite of b, well, my b value is 2. The opposite of 2 is a negative 2. All over 2 times, my a value is a negative 1. Negative 2 over negative 2, that tells me x is going to equal 1. I'm going to put that in the middle of my chart because my vertex is in the middle. I'm going to have to go find 2 points that come before it and 2 points that come after it. Now, by finding that x value of my vertex, I've found a good starting point for my chart. So if you have this calculator, I'm going to use this example first. Table, edit function. And I'm going to type in the function that I see here. So I'm going to clear this out, clear it out. So negative x squared plus 2x minus 1. It's going to ask me to start somewhere. I'm going to start at 1 because that's my vertex. I'm going to keep hitting enter. So I'm going to get 1, 0. 2, negative 1, 3, negative 4. Now when I scroll up in my chart, I bet you this is going to be a negative 1 and a negative 4. Because remember, my vertex is that mirror point. It's the middle of my graph. So if I arrow up, yep, negative 1. Arrow up, yep, negative 4. Okay. Again, your vertex is a mirror point. Okay. So let's plot this. I'm going to plot 1, 0 right here. Now, is this parabola going to be opened up or opened down? Hopefully we say opened down because we recognize that this a value is negative. That's a reflection. So when I plot these points, we have 0, we have 2, negative 1, we have negative 1, negative 4, 3, negative 4. Climb all the way up and rotate down. There you have it. Okay. Again, these are good practice for those characteristics that you need to know about a quadratic function, about a parabola. Fill that in and you can check your answers on the blog. Let's try another example. This time, I'm not going to use my opposite of b first. I'm going to show you just how to use your calculator. So I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to clear out my function. I'm going to type in x squared minus 6x plus 5. I'm going to go to my table. Now, when I look in my table, I'm going to have to take some time and arrow through until I see a pattern form. And there's my pattern. I see a negative 3 on either side. I see a 0 on either side. I could probably arrow up and get to see a 5 on either side. So I could scroll through my table until I find that mirror point. That mirror point is at 3, -4. Then I have 2, -3, 1, 0, 4, -3, and 5, 0. Okay. But let's use our opposite of b over 2a formula to prove that that's true. So x equals the opposite of b over 2a. The opposite of a -6 is a +6, all over 2 times. What's going to be understood in front of this x squared? I hope you hollered at me and said 1. So there's a 1. So 6 divided by 2, that x value is going to be equal to 3. So yes, I would have found in my table the y value that matches is -4. So here's my vertex. So I'm going to plot these points, 3, -4, 2, -3, 4, -3, 1, 0, 5, 0, and again, I connect these with a curve to form my parabola. Awesome. Let's try one more example. Let's use this opposite of b over 2a. My b value is a -2. The opposite of a negative is positive. All over 2 times a, my a value is a -1. 2 divided by -2 is a -1. So I'm going to put that in my middle because that's the x value of my vertex. 2 points that come before it, 2 points that come after it. And now I'm going to use my calculator again. I'm going to go to my table button, edit function. I'm going to say negative x squared, not plus, minus 2x plus 3. I'm going to start at -1 because that's where my vertex was at. I get -1, 4, 0, 3, 1, 0. Again, if it's truly my vertex, I should get the same thing on the other side, and I do. So that is my vertex. So now it's a matter of plotting these and forming a curve. Again, practice these characteristics once you graph it, and check the blog for your answers.